Hey guys, this is Mike, and thanks for listening to Feeling Twisty. I'm really glad you're here. I don't normally do a Sunday episode, but I thought I would this evening. I'm in this house all alone. Everybody's out doing their own thing. I've been working on backed up plumbing. So this morning, mid morning, everybody's kind of moving around. I had my coffee, going to be just a quiet Sunday. And my son, my daughter's friend tells me, "Hey, we have two bathrooms upstairs and then one bathroom downstairs, so three in all." And it's all the plumbing set up to where both bathrooms, both toilets are back to back. There's a wall between them, between the two upstairs bathrooms, and then they're directly above the downstairs bathroom. So anyway, my daughter's friend who'd spent the night came up to me and said, "Hey, one of the toilets upstairs isn't flushing." I'm like, okay. So I went to check it, and sure enough, it wasn't flushing. And I tried the other one upstairs, and sure enough, that one wasn't flushing. So I gave it a little bit, tried plunging it. It's like, okay, sometimes this just goes away. I didn't really worry about it or anything. And then my son comes running upstairs. "Hey, Dad, there's water coming down the walls downstairs in the bathroom." So I went down to check, and I've never seen that, where you have two clogged toilets. Both toilets are clogged. And then there's water leaking from upstairs into the downstairs bathroom, coming down the walls. You can imagine the water, right? I'm assuming it's pretty sure it was the water from the clogged toilet area. But so anyway, I'm telling you all this to get to my point that I noticed today, and I like noticing these things so I can share them with you. Not that I enjoy, things like this happening so I can share them with you, but I enjoy noticing anything that happens within me that I can then turn around and share it with you. I noticed that in the past when this has happened, now this house is like 40, almost 50 years old, so it's got a lot of old parts in it. It doesn't mean I expected things to go wrong and plumbing to get clogged up and weird things like both bathrooms not draining and then leaking into the downstairs bathroom. Anyway, in the past when things like this have happened, my day would have been ruined, and then the day of my family's day would have been ruined because of my mood, the mood I would have been in. I would have been in an awful mood, grouchy, cursing, throwing stuff, breaking more things, and just full of worry and doubt, worrying, how are we going to pay for this? We got to get a plumber on a Sunday. How are we going to do this? They charge so much on weekends. No, plumbers, they charge so much all the time. It's a racket. They're trying to steal my money. I wonder if I should call insurance. Well, don't call insurance because, deductible is so high. If you make a claim, then you're going to have your rates raised. I would have dwelt on those kind of things. And then I would have been mad at myself. What kind of dad are you to have a house this old that has stuff like this? I know that sounds kind of crazy probably to you, and it does to me now, but that's where my thoughts used to go, and then just mad and angry and how, worried about lack because now we got to spend more money on this. Why can't we have the new house we want? All of these things, and it just would have ruined my day, would have ruined my family's day. When I noticed that I didn't have that kind of day, I didn't react like that. I didn't get angry or throw anything. I didn't really go down the rabbit hole of all the negative thoughts that I used to. And my kids didn't. In the past, they would have scattered. They would have avoided me throughout the day, fearing me lashing out at everybody. And you know how that is. When somebody's mad in the family, stay away from them. Shh. Because that's how I used to be. But they didn't do that. So they didn't react. They weren't even expecting that kind of behavior from me. And because I'm not dwelling in that old state. I'm not that guy anymore. And this, I thought, was a cool example of how when you're truly dwelling in a new state, whether it's good or bad, what you experience, your thoughts and your reactions do change. And then how people treat you and how you see people, that changes too, to fit the state you're in. And so I loved noticing that how me dwelling in a new state, I'm not dwelling in the old state of worry and lack and self-doubt, because the thoughts and reactions that I used to have in a situation like this came from the state I was living in. And that old state, that old man, is buried. So this new me, this new state in which I'm dwelling, who and what I am conscious of being, doesn't have those types of reactions and thoughts and all this negative junk and going down these rabbit holes of fear and doubt and lack. It's good because when you dwell on those things, I know for me, when I've dwelled on those types of negative things and given them meaning, giving them truth. Now here's what it is, so this is what's true. Then that's what I would have continued to experience. Yeah, it's not fun having clogged plumbing. It's still weird though, with the water coming down. But my reactions to that situation were completely different. Like I've used the example before when you trying to explain moving states, your state of mind, moving in consciousness. It's like looking out your one room, your current state, looking out the window and seeing the lawn and the trees and the street, maybe your car in the driveway. And then you move states, just like moving to another room in your house. And you look out the window from a different point of view, a different perspective, a different way of seeing things. And you see the lawn, the street, the car. You see similar things, but how you see them is different. You're seeing them from a different point of view, for a different concept of self. Everything we experience, every circumstance, we have it in every moment. We can decide what meaning to give it. And in this case, with the plumbing today, I could have given it all kind of negative meaning, just awful, like this is bad, this means I'm bad, this means I'm not doing something right, which I've done in the last couple of years since I've been studying The Power of Imagination and Neville Goddard and other great teachers. I would have beaten myself up. I would have given meaning to it. I would have decided, well, this happened, which means I'm not successful in my, endeavors with living in imagination, because why would I imagine this up? And then I would have started beating myself up because I'm not successful in imagining enough money to pay for a plumber on a Sunday rates, all these things. I would have beaten myself up. I would have given all this meaning to just a simple clogged pipes. But anything in your life, you have the choice of what it's going to mean to you. And you can take all the wind out of it by changing the meaning you give it. For me, even though I worked on the plumbing, for most of the day today, it didn't mean what it used to mean to me. It didn't mean that I was a failure, that I was screwing things up. I've talked about this before, and Neville's talked about it, and so many people have talked about it. How, regardless of the situation, whatever your circumstances, don't take your cue from that. Neville talks about it quite often. When he'll bring up examples of people that have told him about their limits, their limitations, their race, their sex, their financial situation, all these things. And sometimes he would just simply tell them, don't accept it. Don't accept it. And I'm sure some people, wanted him to say more to them. They wanted to tell their, suck story to him and get a little more from him, maybe some pity, but simply don't accept it. And so that's what I did today. Even though, yeah, I didn't want to spend a Sunday doing this, I didn't at any point give it any negative meaning. I didn't accept it as meaning anything that I did wrong. It just was. I didn't judge it. Because when we judge something, we're limiting it. We're limiting ourselves. We're placing limits on it. So when we say something is bad, this is bad, why is it bad? That's what I do. I ask myself that. Okay, why am I feeling this is bad? What am I believing about myself? Why do I believe this circumstance means anything to me? Why does that have to indicate any lack on my part? So today I just chose to give it no judgment. It just is. It's not a bad thing. It's not a wonderful thing. It just is. Not worrying about what's going to be needed to take care of it. I've already imagined everything done. I know, regardless of the steps it takes to get to that point, I've already seen the end. Like the Bible says, I think Ezekiel, or is it Isaiah? Isaiah. I declare the end from the beginning. In imagination, we all do that. Whatever we're assuming about ourselves, whatever we're conscious of being, is declaring the end. We're declaring the end in consciousness because that's where reality is. That's what's real. Just as real as what you can physically touch, because that's what you can physically touch, your outside circumstances, or what you are experiencing in consciousness. They're together, like interlocked fingers. I like to think of it as that everything I'm experiencing physically is what I'm conscious of already. No, I didn't imagine a toilet, a clogged pipe situation. And I don't need to analyze that and go into how did I imagine this up? What did I do? Did I fall into doubt or get mad at somebody? Is it because I didn't go to church this morning? There's no need to go back and try to analyze it and figure out what did I do wrong? How did I become conscious of having clogged pipes? No, I don't need to worry about that. I don't need to keep looking back and trying to find things. Now, sometimes when something comes up that I'm experiencing, I know immediately. I've noticed it more and more now. I can easily point out when I planted that seed. Not always, but it's becoming more apparent to me when things happen. A lot of times I'll say, oh, okay, yeah, I remember when I did that. But I don't beat myself up about that either anymore. There's no need to. Because whatever I'm continually focused on, whatever I'm putting my attention on, that's what I'm going to continue experiencing. If I'm aware of lack and failure and slip-ups, and I give that truth, then I'll continue to experience that. But once you start changing the meaning and not accepting what you see in the physical world as the done deal, the absolute truth, and stop giving that truth and giving all the truth and the trust to your own imagination, to your consciousness, your I am. I am what? Who are you? Who do you want to be? So it doesn't matter if the house isn't the house you're currently in isn't the house you've imagined, your dream home, the one you have because you've walked through it. You've turned the fire on the gas range in your brand new kitchen. All of these things you've done just because you walk out of your bedroom tonight and it's not that house doesn't mean that the house you've already created in imagination isn't your house. If a doctor's diagnosis, or you go back, you're sick, you really want to be healed. You want to be healthy. And so you've been bringing up all these feelings of health. You feel good. You've got a good prognosis, a good or no more diagnosis, that you're all better. Whatever you're feeling, you just want to not be sick anymore. And so the doctor, you go in for a checkup this week and nothing's changed. Or even if maybe a report is worse on a blood test. Don't give that meaning. Don't accept that as final. No circumstance is final. None whatsoever. I was permanently brain damaged. Lesions in the brain. Stuck in a wheelchair. And if I could get up out of the wheelchair, I used crutches. Every muscle one could normally control, I would lose control of, which made going to the bathroom, trying to make it to the bathroom, exciting. So I can tell you with certainty that nothing is permanent in this physical world. Everything can change in a moment. And it really does. Once you are conscious of being this new person, or experiencing this new thing, Neville would say, once you've assumed it to be true, or once you've entered imagination and felt the reality of it, that the seed is planted. And I agree with him completely. Because like the Bible says, Mark 11:24, whatever you ask for in prayer, in imagination, whatever you desire, be believing you have received it, and you will. You could take really that one verse. I think I've said this before, this verse, you could get rid of the whole Bible and just keep this one verse. There's a bunch of those I've found. But this verse, for me, it's like, okay, well, there it is right there. I know that prayer is motion toward accession to. So I'm moving in imagination. Whatever I want, whatever I desire, move into that new state in imagination. And the Bible says, all I have to do is continue believing that I've received it, and I will. Not believe you did it and then, go back into the worrying about everything throughout the day. What Neville would say, you've gotten out of the state of the wish fulfilled. Neville always talks about living in the end. Well, that's what that verse is talking about too. Whatever you've moved in imagination toward, whatever you've asked for in prayer, continue believing. Be believing you have received it, and you will. Continue living in the end, like Neville says. Persist. Continue existing in that new state, whatever it is, regardless of what the circumstances. For me, this is a great reminder today, and I love noticing it, how I've moved, how I'm not that old guy anymore, that old crabby, down in the dumps dad. I could move back into a sucky state like that. We all can. But we can just as easily move into a new, wonderful state of being. Everything is possible. All right, guys. Hope you enjoyed your weekend. Oh, I do want to say congratulations to my son's girlfriend, Emily Brett, who was the Southwest Louisiana Mardi Gras queen this past year for 2019. And she just gave up her crown, but yet she went to compete in Lafayette, Louisiana tonight and was crowned Miss Louisiana Mardi Gras. So congratulations, Queen Emily Britt. We're so happy for you. All right, guys, shoot me an email, feelingtwisty@gmail.com, or find me on Instagram @feelingtwisty, or Facebook at Feeling Twisty. I somehow made an accidental account for Feeling Twisty, but it's the one that's Feeling Twisty Podcast. So find me on there too. All right. I love you guys. Thanks for listening. Have a great week. I know you will. This is Feeling Twisty.